sun was shining, I was laying in bed, wondering if she changed it on or if her hair was still red. Now her folks said our lives together sure was gonna be rough. Never did like mama's dress, papa's bank book wasn't big enough. I was standing on the side of the road, rain falling on my shoes, heading up for the East Coast. Lord knows I paid some dues getting through. I'm tangled up in blue. She was married when we first met, soon to be divorced. Helped her out of the jam, I guess, but I used a little too much force. We drove that car as far as we couldn't abandon it out west. Split up on the docks that night, both agreed it was best. She turned around and looked at me as I was walking away. I heard her say over my shoulder, we're gonna meet again someday on the avenue, all tangled up in blue. Job in the Great Northwoods, working as a cook for a spell. Well, I never did like it all that much, and one day it all just went to hell. Well, I drifted on down to New Orleans, and I was lucky for to be destroyed, working for a while on a fishing boat right outside of Delacroix. All the while I was alone, the past was close behind. Seen a lot of women, but she never escaped my mind, and I just grew all tangled up in blue. Working in a topless place, and I stopped in for a beer. I just kept looking at the side of her face, and the spotlight so clear. Well, later on, when the crowd thinned down, I was just about to do the same. She was standing there by the back of my chair, says, "Honey, let me guess your name." I muttered something underneath my breath. She stared at the lines on my face. I must admit it felt a little uneasy when she bent down to tie the laces on my shoes. They're tangled up in blue. Well, she lit the burner on the stove, and then she offered me a pipe. No way. Thought we said hello, she said, "Man, you look like a silent type." Well, she opened up a book of poems and opened it to me, written from an Italian poet from the 13th century. Every one of the words rang true and glowed like burning coal, pouring off of every page like it was written in my soul from me to you. Tangled up in blue. revolution in the air. Well, he started in the deal and the slaves and something inside of him died. She had to sell everything she owned and then froze up inside. Finally, when the bottom fell out and I became withdrawn, the only thing I knew how to do was just to keep on keeping on like a bird that flew, tangled up in blue. Well, now I'm going back again. I got to get to her somehow. All the people that we used to know, they're an illusion to me now. Oh, some are mathematicians, some are carpenters' wives. Don't know how it all got started, man, I don't know what they do with their lives. Me, I'm still out on the road, just heading for another joint. We always did feel the same, we just saw it from a different point.